Welcome back to WigginsTV, everybody. Like I told y'all, I got nothing but legends, man. I keep tripping over some real rare interviews, man, and this so far is the rarest of the rare. I'm talking hoods we've been hearing about for decades. You know, they heard some BS on one of my episodes. They here to clear it up. Please welcome LoC and the OG Charmz. How y'all feeling, man?
Feeling good.
For sure. So, man, here's first things first. We gonna get to this first. What did y'all hear exactly that's messed up, so we could clear it up? Like, where exactly did my section mess up?
You want to go first on your way? Okay, so Bodie Ozone and Ozone players is actually two different hoods. One is on the east side. We always been west side.
Oh,
like on the map. When check it out, it's on your map that you put up. Yeah, you went straight to the east side and put up Ozone players Crips, and that's definitely not where we was located. We was located off the Layton Avenue and Normandy on the west side. Anybody that knows that area, it used to be King Boulevard. It used to be Santa Barbara, my bad. But now it's King Boulevard. A lot of people not familiar with that area. It's over there by the 30s, by the 40s, and by the food town. So we had some homies off 109th Street, like east of Normandy at one point. And then we had some homies in Vegas as time went on.
Oh, so y'all pretty much spread out. Cause people try. You got some people on the internet trolling. Doing that. Internet weird stuff, talking about hoods. Y'all ninjas is done died out. So y'all spread out. Y'all still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
For sure.
Yeah, you can find some homies moving around. And of course, it ain't like the 80s and all that, like the early 80s and when everybody was really moving around. Everybody kind of spread out now, doing their thing. Ain't nobody really out here on no extra bullshit. Oh, my bad, extra nada.
For sure. All right, so pretty much, what year was it established?
Like the early 80s, but we were players only for real. Like everybody else, like most neighborhoods was just players and hustlers. And we never got consumed by no other hood. We was doing our own thing. Like the late 70s to the early 80s. And then, of course, when that money came along, we used to make the money, and we started running with other people, started doing our own thing. We wanted to put our own thing together. And at some point, like a lot of neighborhoods, you had to pick a side. If you could join somebody, or you could stand your ground and put a C or a B at the end of it, a P or whatever. And because we were doing what we were doing, we felt like, you know what I'm saying? We wanted to get on the blue stage. And that's exactly what we did.
For sure. Who was some of y'all allies at that time?
On 109th Street, they would have to speak on that. For Layton, we were close to the 30s, we were close to the 40s. When we didn't have cars, we would still been able to kick with them dudes. Going to school with them type of dudes. O'Shea, manual arts, things like that.
Oh, all right.
Of course, as we got older, was able to move around, buying cars, whatever. Always had love for the T-Zone. T-Zone's always had love for us. And we really didn't have no super beef with nobody because we really wasn't like that with us when we first came out. Because, again, we come from the player episode.
For sure. Now,
as a matter of fact, real quick, I apologize.
Cool.
We were reading some of the comments. And the only way I can put it, like, most of the people that ran into somebody from Westside Ozone, players Crips that is, they was always cool with us. We never really had no issue unless they made an issue.
All right. I respect it, man. Now, we talk about comments now, I'm pretty sure you seen a comment where I wrote down that I heard of an Ozone player out in Hawthorne. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I used to be in Hawthorne, but like I said, never tried to start no hood there. And Hawthorne was basically a neutral ground. So in the city of Hawthorne, you had Crips, Bloods, KWS, MVPs. You had some people from everywhere that was out there. So it wasn't nobody hood. And we never got ran out of there. As a matter of fact, we was there moving around Hawthorne because a couple of homies used to live out there on different sides of Hawthorne. Because we would just push through Hawthorne. Especially when a lot of stuff was going on close to where we was, like get up the way or do what we got to do, make our money, mess with women, just do our thing, homie. Okay. So nobody controlled Hawthorne when we was over there in Hawthorne. Everybody was doing what they were doing. If there was some friction with people that had their issues, that never had nothing to do with us.
Right. For sure. Mm-hmm. So,
because where I used to be at in Hawthorne, you used to have Lil Crazo from Stevenson Village, Carson, Lil Guilty Rich from 30s, a couple of East Coasters, D-Mac from UG. We used to all run together. And then you had the other C-Lo that was from Benny Showline and Speedy and different other people. We used to all just run together, you know what I'm saying, doing our thing, getting our hustle on back in them days. But nobody ever really tried to say, oh, this my hood or this my street or this my block or some weird stuff like that.
For sure. So, I want to ask this, respectfully. Is there any, younger homies at this time in 2023 probably still pushing the OPZ movement?
Oh, yeah, you got younger homies in Vegas. You got younger homies in L.A.
For sure.
Basically just everywhere, though. Some moved to Lancaster or Palmdale. You got people spread out.
Right, for sure. So, I see that you said that y'all basically came out, in the early 80s. Did y'all ever, meet with any, some of the big names in Crips or Bloods, maybe a Big U, or did y'all ever run across anybody like that?
I know some of them. I ran across them. Never had bad blood. Respectful and cool.
Alright.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Space Coasters and all that, and homies from Harlem, a lot of the Harlem. Yeah. If you ask any of them, they'll tell you they know Lil CeeLo. They'll tell you they for sure know Lil CeeLo.
For sure.
Some of the 40s. You ask the 40s and all them dudes over there, they know. The ones that's younger, the ones that's older, not the younger dudes, bro.
That's right. All right, now I'm about to ask this question right here. It's a little touchy, but hey, man, let's see. So, if you grew up in LA, period, man, or if you even lived or visited LA, somebody go step to you and ask where you from. So, when people, assuming that this happened to one of y'all more than once, was they tripping? When they stepped to you, was like, hey, I'm from Ozone Player, man. What's the deal? Was they tripping on you? Because not everybody's going to be cool with a certain hood or a group. So, was they tripping when you told them you was from Ozone Player? Because it's not one of the most known gangs out there? Or did you just get a pass?
I never considered myself getting a pass from anybody. People used to know me, and they knew me very well. And, somebody asked me where I was from, I banged the set like they'll bang this.
I'm being respectful. Not sorry to cut you. I'm being respectful with it, because a lot of people have.
I know what you're saying, but
yeah,
but it never was no way out of line type stuff. But like I said, I went to Fauché, Audubon, Manual, Crenshaw, LA High, South Bay CDC. I went to a lot of schools out there. I even went to Dorsey for a day. And I knew everybody that was around that time that I was coming up. You know, I knew the Baby Deuce from 60s and, you know, different people from different hoods. But I always had respect. Nobody ever really came to me foul unless you was just an enemy from the other side. But 9 times out of 10, back in them days, if you asked me where I was from, this is how I felt. I felt that everybody knew me and everybody respected me. If you asked me where I was from, I just took it as you had to be an enemy. So in my mind, I already knew where it was going. So 9 times out of 10, I probably just fired on you. And I'm going to keep it honest with you. Yeah, so he's younger than me too, bro. Yeah, he's younger than me, so he had a different experience, which is cool. I mean, the thing is this, homie, like you said, I mean, I don't think you're being disrespectful. I don't think nobody was. When we was trying to put our flag in the ground, we was just trying to put our flag in the ground. We wasn't known to be out here trying to set tricks on nobody and cause no commotion, but you always gonna get somebody from somebody's hood that's gonna act like, you know what I'm saying, they can't control themselves. But that don't mean we were gonna be, you know, weenies or no busters or whatever. Everybody take licks. Everybody take licks on me. We're going to stand up and do what we got to do, and then we're going to push our conversation, because if we do our own thing, we definitely going to push Westside Ozone Players Crips down your throat. That's all we knew how to do. If we somebody we kicking it with in their neighborhood with their homies or whatever, and they can't control their people, then we got to, you know, make sure we get home the best way we can get home. And make sure they understand that, homie, we ain't on that. We on whatever y'all own as far as kicking. Because, you know, I don't know how old you are personally, but we're a little bit older. Oh, no, homie. No, I ain't gonna, I'm way up there, homie. I'm way up there. So, when I say the ages, homie, I'm talking like, I'm way up there past that, homie. Shout out to the 45-year-olds, but I'm way up there. I'm up there, like, a lot of your stuff I seen, homie, like, when you were saying that this neighborhood was this before was that, I'm from that era. I'm from the old era, super old, meaning when a lot of stuff was just getting broken down in L.A. And it really was like, you know what I'm saying, like freshly getting started when this dude was cracking with these dudes. And like I said, a lot of during that time, we was mostly players, just minding our business. Doing with like a lot of different neighborhoods before they started cripping or blooding or whatever they were doing, or they got consumed by bigger hoods. Like I've seen on a lot of the comments, I've seen some other people speaking on it. A lot of neighborhoods you bringing up, they got consumed by other neighborhoods, or they probably fell victim how we fell victim, just sign at a time. You know, gentrification in our neighborhood, people moving out of our neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? We don't have the apartment building no more. We don't have this no more. So now we go over here and kick in. If we cool with these dudes 9 times out of 10, we are. Otherwise, we ain't going over there. Like you said, when we was in Hawthorne, everybody and their mama, we was in different parts of Hawthorne because homies lived in Hawthorne, but everybody and their mama was coming in, everybody was chilling.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. See, I'm in like my late 40s. So, yeah, my era was different than his era. Like I said, that's the OG homie. My era was the 80s and the 90s. And it was a little different back then. You had all these, you know, things were different. It was a lot of known cats that was riders back then. Some of them here today, some of them not, from other hoods and stuff like that. But, yeah, it was a different era back in them days from what it is today. Especially for somebody that's 29, homie. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, you know, I remember just being able to run through L.A. and you could just go do what you got to do. And unless you were from one of the known bigger communities, you know what I'm saying? You really didn't have no problem unless somebody was trying to, quote unquote, you know, bully up on the community that's trying to start or trying to get themselves established. Which didn't make no sense, because you ain't gonna get no points off that, because you're supposed to push your line when you're from a smaller clique.
Right. So I got a question right now. So y'all right now, what I'm hearing is very rare, bro, for a hood to be started in the middle of LA, and without any major problems, any backlash, any, hey, you better join this hood, or any pressure. What do you think was the key to y'all success of being like that? Because, like you said, a lot of the hoods I mentioned, they got swallowed up quick. And it's true.
Yeah, for sure.
What you think was the key to y'all success of being, hey, I don't care what y'all doing over there. We got love for y'all, but hey, this us, homie.
Well, to answer that, it's like this. I had people from other hoods that wanted me to be from their hood. I could have been from 18 Gangsters. I got family from 30s, wanted me to be from 30s. I got uncles from 60s. And I got family from Hoover and everywhere. So the thing about me was back in them days is that I didn't want to be like everybody else in the family. I didn't want to be a follower. So I wanted to be, from my own hood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But them same people, they used to try to pressure me to be from, from the neighborhood. Because my uncle, Big Psycho Mike from 30s. Oh. And I got cousins from there, too. They used to want me to be from Harlem. They used to be from Harlem. But we stayed the way that we were because we was tight-knit. You know what I mean? And we was loyal. And once I put on a flag, that was it. I wasn't finna change and swap no hoods. Because back then, we used to call these dudes like these dudes today. You see, oh, he from this hood, oh, he turned to that hood. We used to call them Transformers. And you know what I'm saying? I wasn't to be no Transformer. But I still hung out with people from them other gangs and was tight with people from them other gangs. Big gangs, major gangs. Like, I used to live in the 60s, too. You know what I mean? And the 60s always showed me love. I used to be one of the dudes who weren't from there that could walk up and down Hyde Park, Bryanhurst, Victoria, go chill with them in apartment buildings and, stuff like that. Like, I've been shot up before. You know what I mean? I've been jumped. A lot of that back in the days. But every time something happened to me, it was always the other side. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we do got enemies. We do have enemies. Don't get us wrong, like, it was just hunky-dory. No, it wasn't. We do have enemies and stuff like that. Some of them relationships are better today than what they were back then. If you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Now, I like that question, and I'm older than this dude, but I like that question. And I think it's more like what he said, because it's a different generation, but by the same token, it's where we were geographically, too. Because where that section is on that side, I don't know if you're familiar with that part of town. Like, we was always cool with the heart. We grew up with everybody over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they never pushed the line on no, for my age bracket, they never pushed the line on no, this. Because, like I said before, there's a lot more respect. And we stayed to ourselves. We really stayed to ourselves. We really didn't have no problems except for when we left to go kick it. We was kicking it, and then dudes would try to make it seem like we was trying to do too much. But one thing we was doing our shit. So, of course, when people trying to push the line on you, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many of us, we got to push back because, like, damn, bro, we ain't even over here on that, but we ain't trying to get swallowed up either. And that's no disrespect to nobody because as we grew up, especially my older age, rather, we was able to go to the Uncle Jam's, we was able to go to functions, we was able to go do things. But we had some other dudes that were older. They weren't from the hood, but they were older dudes that definitely looked out for us. Because we was cool young dudes, da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm talking about before we had cars. I'm talking about before we actually started saying we were Crips. You know what I'm saying? We were just, like I said, players. And we were still able to move around. So we never got a chance to get into no major headaches with nobody. Because, one, we was always to ourselves, minding our business, and we was always kind of cool with people. Obviously, like any neighborhood, you don't play with us, we ain't playing with you. Because we'll definitely discipline our own. We ain't tripping. But we was also super respectful of people, bro. As long as you're respectful for us, you make some money, you can do this, you can do that. And, of course, dudes will cling to this dude, dudes will cling to that dude. And we weren't even kicking with a lot of dudes sets. You know what I'm saying? We was kicking with individuals from different sets. Like I heard you say to some dude on here, I think he was saying that there was a conflict when he was kicking it with the T-zones because they was having an issue with another section that you said you're familiar with. And we know that same vibe when we were kicking with these dudes. But we were still able to kick it with these dudes because we didn't have no problem. We wasn't involved into that, when they got into a, you know what I'm saying? That was their business. So we was like just trying to be crip at some point. We wasn't trying to be beefing with all these dudes. But, alcohol, temperaments, et cetera, et cetera. So when people would push up on us, of course we don't push back. And all the neighborhoods that was surrounding us or whatever, they always respected us from the perspective of if they ran across us, they never tried to, like for this generation, it was a little bit different. But for my generation, no, but we wasn't really having a problem.
For sure.
So basically, like when I started, it was Crips.
Yeah, for sure.
They started, they was players. You know what I mean? I done been to the feds and everything. And my gang banging was really gang banging, a little rowdier. A lot of people trying to make names for themselves back in the days when I came up. But a lot of places I went, a lot of people from other hoods knew the big homies. And they'd be like, oh, I know your big homie such and such. Or I know your big homie whoopie whoop whoop. You know what I mean? And they would actually know the big homies. They would call them, hey, your homie LoC over here, whoop whoop. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
And then, like my generation growing up, going to school with all these different gangs and different sets, people knew me. So, I moved around through LA.
For sure. Wow. Two legends here, man. Man, I wish I really hope y'all do come back for a part 2, man. We just doing this part one just for a clarification, but yeah, man, this right here is fire, man. Before we get up out of here, any other misconceptions or any miseducations about y'all set that y'all want to clear up before we get up out of here?
Okay, you can go first.
Just basically, we actually on the west side. We're not 40 Ozones. I do know some 40 Ozones. I know some OGs from over there. They still around. Some people might have turned other hoods. Just like we had, and what we did say was we did have homies that was from the hood that individually some went to other big hoods, like bigger hoods. Some went to 30s. Some might have went to the 60s or somewhere, you know what I mean? But even when they went there, they never switched up on us, never changed up on us. They always stayed respectful, And the dudes that I knew be like, oh, I used to be from your hood back in the days, you know what I mean? And they give me history on it back in them days when I was younger. But that's pretty much it, though. 40 Ozones and Ozone players, 2 different sets, 2 different sides of town with different enemies.
Yeah, and the true part about that is a lot of times when people hear certain things, they think, okay, this dude's was hood. You got to remember, we was players, straight players, before we was actually like, okay, now we Ozone players, Crips. Like a lot of different people moving through LA was just like, oh, we from Ozone, we from Ozone, we from Ozone. It's like people we would run up to at school or whatever. They were just saying it just because they were just saying it. Dude, we had never met. I would go to school and see something written in a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is this dude? But we players, though. So some of them dudes was like Ozone players, but now they flipped over and they said, oh, I'm going to do this. Because this hood got the money, this hood got the... So you can't be, mad at them because they really wasn't even Ozone players when, they wasn't even Ozone players. They was just Ozone when we was just going around being Ozones. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because a lot of people was liking the name, you know what I'm saying? Dudes was liking the name or whatever because it was different from whatever. Just like, you got dudes that was probably claiming East Coast before they realized, like, wait a minute, that's a real gang. I don't want to get involved with it. So or they was claiming some of the other neighborhoods that you mentioned that you say, quote unquote, are forgotten. But then they decided, wait a minute, once they saw that these hood was over here doing this, they decided, okay, well, I'm really about to step my game up and go, yeah, I don't want to be a hustler no more. I don't want to be a player no more. I want to get in the rags, six folks, and all that, and well with these dudes. So they really do a big favor over here. Y'all dudes just riding around on bikes, messing with girls or doing whatever. That's the generation I come from. So, again, like I said, everybody, for the most part, man, kind of my generation growing up, it's rare occasions, man, when people were really trying to be disrespectful. Not to say that nobody ever was there. They definitely was. But by the same token, though, nobody really can hang a jacket on us like, oh, they used to come up with because of this. Or they was always acting like, well, no, but we was always respectful.
For sure. All right. For sure. Hey, you got it here first, man. I appreciate y'all two brothers for stopping by, man. and really basically checking me about the information. It's all good, though. It's all love, man. Y'all welcome back anytime, man. We signing out of here.
Ain't no checking, man.
Ain't no checking. We just want to get
ain't no checking. We like to see this. Yeah, we like, and it's more, it's like, bro, we'll talk out there, whatever, however you want to do it, but it's really, we read some stuff, and it's all good. Everybody's entitled to opinion, bro. I like what you're doing. The homie say you like what you're doing based on what he just seen and saw. We just wanted to clarify. We saw you had a number down there, so I was like, man, I want to hit the dude up, but he's like, man, I'll hit him up. All right, what's the family, man? You know, do what you got to do. So we appreciate you getting at us, man. We appreciate you putting us out there, man. And, you know, doing your thing, man. You're doing a solid job, homie.
Yeah, much love and respect.
All right, for sure. Likewise, man. Till next time. You got to hear first. WigginsTV.